Maybe Steve. Here he is.
Okay.
Hello.
Good evening, Stephen.
How you doing?
Good, good.
All right. Been a long couple days here.
Here's your
I think
timing.
we're going. Oh,
Huh?
Are we on, Catherine?
I'm just checking. Yep, we're on.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Bernie Pelletier. I chair the West Hartford Clean Energy Commission meeting. This meeting of the commission will be conducted as a virtual meeting. Members of the public may view the meeting on West Hartford Community Interactive YouTube at www.whctv.org. You can also provide public comments on agenda items by calling at the scheduled date and time using the following access info. Call in 408-418-9388 or access code with access code 239482-3280. And I'll repeat that. If you do want to call in, 408-418-9388, access code 239482-3280. And great, since we are on WebEx, or we can see who's here. Bernie Pelletier is here. Catherine Davini is here as our host. Joe Campanella, a commissioner, is here, and Stephen Sack, a commissioner, is here also. Good evening, everybody, and thanks for coming in. That was our roll call. Could I get a motion to approve our minutes from our last April 27th meeting?
Motion to approve.
I think you're muted, but Catherine, I could read your
Second.
lips.
Second.
So, any objections? Okay, the meetings are approved. The minutes are approved.
Do we have enough people to approve stuff tonight?
Good question, Stephen. Yes, the way we're set up, there's 5 commissioners, so 3 out of 5, and we actually have 4 out of 5 are as a quorum, and we're good to go.
Good.
But I asked that very same question about a minute before you arrived. As you can tell, the option to have these meetings virtually has been extended. The COVID has been rearing its head, and I don't know if there's an end date to this virtual meeting, but for now, we're okay to do it this way. Catherine, do you know, is it just for May, or is there an extension?
There is an extension. I'm not sure how long the extension is for, but for the foreseeable future, commissions have the option to continue to meet virtually.
Okay. And we may, at our discretion, I think we can meet in person, and we'll talk a little bit about our next meeting and a couple agenda items. But this meeting obviously is a virtual meeting.
Bernie, would you like me to pull up the agenda, or are we good?
I guess, yeah, since there's so few of us, if you can pull it up, you might as well. And it looks like we've lost Joe for a minute. Stephen, we're just pulling up the minutes here.
Can you guys see it?
Yes, indeedy, if you just want to scroll down. Okay, old business. So real quick, on I think May 14th, a couple weekends ago, Avon Clean Energy Commission had energy fair, and we participated. I was there. It was a nice event right off of Route 44, and a whole group of garden clubs and music, and their Clean Energy Commission was there. HeatSmart was there. Real nice event, nice day, and the subtext of all that is that, to the extent it is possible, we're looking to support other local commissions, and hopefully they'll return the favor. So like, for example, down the road a piece when we talk about electric vehicle events, possibly we'll host or possibly somebody else will host, but we're hoping to get bigger crowds and less work, I guess. So that's the report on Avon. HeatSmart, as you can see from the agenda that Catherine's got posted, as of the time we put the agenda together, there was 154 registrants. Not all of whom have gone all the way through. Some are scheduled, some have declined, some have hit some barriers, but I think that number is actually up to 161 the last time I looked. As a point of competition between us and the other HeatSmart campaign going to town of Bethel, which is a lot smaller than West Hartford, but they have actually reached their goal already. So they're up to 66 registrants who have got HES audits in that community. So Matt Knickerbocker, their first selectman, may give Sherry Cantor a call and just rub it in a little bit. That's all in good fun, I think. Sort of next up on our HeatSmart campaign is really Celebrate West Hartford, which is Saturday and Sunday, June 11th and 12th. I think the last two of these have been canceled because of COVID. I'm pretty sure, unless we have a horrible weather event, these are going to come off. We have a booth there. Catherine, you sent around a map, I think, to all of us.
I did not send it to everyone. I sent it to you and Deb Rowe at Pace. I just wanted to put it in front of this group. I think we were all in agreement for a while that the focus of the clean, but maybe we should open for discussion, that the focus of our clean energy booth this year is going to be HeatSmart, telling people about the HeatSmart campaign and the Home and Energy Solutions program. So maybe I don't know what materials we have planned, and eventually we'll need to get together. You know, it's not far off. We need to start a Google sign up sheet. So I guess my question is, you know, is the HeatSmart team going to coordinate the booth this year, or jointly, or who's going to take the lead on that?
I think, well, we'd love the commissioners to, in years past, as you said, commissioners have taken shifts, and so we've staffed both days. I'd like to do that same thing. We have some members of the public like Chris Feely, Dan Becerra, Mark Merritt, others who are sort of regular attendees. I think they could step in. So the HeatSmart team will certainly participate, but let's get as many commissioners on deck as we can. So a Google sign up sheet like you've done in years past would be very helpful.
Okay, I can do that. And then, so I'll be in charge of the sign up, and kind of we used to do it in those 2-hour blocks and try and have 2 volunteers per 2-hour block. Are we going to have any vendors in the booth as well? Are they gonna sign up as well, or is it just all volunteers? And kind of what do we have in terms of materials or games from the other event, the Earth Day event and stuff like that? Are you guys just gonna bring that kind of stuff?
So haven't asked any vendors to attend. Can vendors be in the booth?
They can, as long as they're not selling their services, you know, as long as they're promoting the program. In the past, we have had HES vendors with us.
Okay.
But it was more in the context of the letting people know about the program.
Okay. I have not invited anybody pending that answer to that question. So I'll get back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And one question, I think, what are we, booth 404? Is that?
Mm-hmm.
is there any area, like any grassy area next to us or any open space next to us, or are we pretty much on the main thoroughfare and boxed in? And the reason I'm asking is we have games like a football throw, a knock the cans down. If we have a big puzzle that you can put together sort of on the ground, but if there's no open space, then we'll just have something that could stand up on the table.
Yeah, well, I mean, we are on the edge of the parking lot, so there is grass behind us, but it would be difficult to access with all the tents in front of it. I
Okay.
think we could have a puzzle on the ground and just pull the table back into the booth a little bit further if we wanted to do something like that. Or you could set up the can game kind of with people throwing stuff into the booth. But if that's, I also think she's placed us in booth 404 so that we are near, if not next to, the Energized Connecticut trailer. So there might be enough going on with that right next door. But I feel like I do have some shopping bags left over from previous years, so we could bring those out. I think that's about all I have left in terms of giveaways. Maybe
Okay.
about 50 or so shopping bags. I don't know. Do you guys have any HeatSmart giveaways?
We've ironically enough, what we have is little seed packets, so flower seeds and things like that. And we also have some small Lego little kits. However, I'm a little bit apprehensive because they're quite small, and I wouldn't want to give them to little kids, and I worry about a choking hazard. So I think we have seed packets, like flower seed packets, which we could give away if. So I know that's not too exciting, perhaps, but we do have flyers. And some posters, and if we are next to the van, I think that will be pretty exciting as well. Catherine, are you in the office tomorrow?
I am.
Would you, if I can schedule a time with you, could I come over there and just walk around the parking lot and sort of take a look at our little booth there?
Yeah, the booths are not set up, but yes, I can. You can see where it is going to be. Yeah, I mean, you can see it on the map too. But we can walk it together.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, in terms of banners, so sometimes in years past, people have told us, we have a Clean Energy Commission banner. We also have a HeatSmart banner. Bernie, you have one of them? The other one's still at Elmwood. Sometimes people told us in the past that we didn't want to mix our messages by having, people would get confused if it was the Clean Energy Commission, but is this HeatSmart West Hartford? So do we want both banners up in the booth? We could hang one at the back and put one on the table out front.
I think we could have them both. I think it would be the clean energy, excuse me, the clean energy booth, and the campaign is the HeatSmart campaign.
Okay.
And I don't think it should be too confusing.
Okay. Do we have any large displays, or do we just have handouts and a banner? How big? What is this puzzle thing? I feel like we should have something to attract people in.
Yeah, the puzzle is a 4x6 plastic puzzle that would lay on the ground. It's got a home sort of drawn on it, and the various ways that you can improve your home efficiency: insulation in the attic, insulation in the basement, heat pumps, of course.
I think we should bring that.
Yeah. And the only thing is it's pretty big. It's 4x6, and we lay it on a tarp, and little kids can do it. Let's try and see if I have a picture of it. But I don't. I think I've got a picture of the can games. We have Energy Jeopardy as well. So Energy Jeopardy might be a fun thing to do.
Okay.
Yep. So all that would be is somebody would come up to Steve and hit a buzzer, and they would pick a category. So they might pick home energy solutions for 200, and Steve would ask them a question. If they got it, they'd get a seed packet. If they didn't get
Nice.
it,
I like that.
yeah. So that one, nobody's throwing anything, and it shouldn't be too dangerous.
I like that.
Okay. I don't know, Steve, are you an Energy Jeopardy fan?
I am a big Jeopardy fan. I don't know about energy so much. Are we, have you thought about maybe having one of the guys that do the HES audits there to explain it a little bit?
I will invite them. I'm not 100% sure we'll get them, but we'll definitely ask them. At this point, having been through a lot of sessions, I can explain it. However, to your point, it would be a lot better if one of them did. And we do have HES flyers as well.
Nice.
I'm getting a text that Joe is having computer problems, so he's on his second restart, so we may or may not get him back. So I'll let you guys, I'll let everybody know. I'm going to invite New England Smart Energy and Energy Efficient Solutions. See if we can get one or the other of them to attend. Even for part of it would be great.
Yeah, they should have a salesman wants to go there. Maybe they make other sales too. Who knows?
So Steve, because we're in the nonprofit section and we're the Clean Energy Commission, they can't sell anything. But since we're promoting the HeatSmart campaign, we can have a sign up for the campaign, and then we can hand those leads over to them. But they are not allowed to sell anything. Otherwise, they would have had to bought their own for-profit booth. And some years, HES or other contractors, solar contractors and things like that have participated in Celebrate West Hartford in the regular commercial booth section.
Okay. Yeah, and that's actually very much how the campaign works. They come into the campaign, they read the material. If they want to sign up, they sign up, and then they get assigned to a person. So it's I think we're compliant with both the letter and the spirit of the law. Okay, so Catherine, tomorrow I'll loop over there and see if we can. But Energy Jeopardy, two banners, some flyers. I think we'll see if the puzzle has a place. I'll bring the puzzle over to your office, Catherine. Steve, have you ever seen Catherine's office?
No.
It's worth a trip. It's part office, part warehouse. She's got.
He never invites me, so.
Steve, if you for example, if you needed a part or some piece of equipment that you had trouble finding elsewhere, you could probably find it in Catherine's office. She's got almost everything that you would ever want there.
It's not very clean. Let's put it that way. Okay. And I think they're storing some cleaning materials in there too. Anyway, Steve, you're welcome anytime. Room 307.
Yeah. Okay.
Very good. And just a quick sidebar, Steve, I've been talking to Jack Cunningham, your office mate down there on Jensen Place or Jensen Road. So I haven't been to his office either, but that was he's a great.
Oh, good. You're able to maybe put something together with him on the commercial side.
Yeah, well, we're comparing notes, but it's a big company with a lot of diverse sort of, they
Yeah.
do energize CT programs, they do solar. They seem to do a lot of stuff, so.
Eat my Chinese food.
And they're right next to you, right?
Yeah, they're at one of their buildings from me, and then they are right next to me. Yep.
Yep.
Right on Jansen Court. There's only a couple buildings. And quietly in the beginning of our street is Lux Bond Green's corporate office and warehouse. They have no signs out front.
It's like you got two energy companies and a jeweler down there. So
no, we actually on that side of the street. There's 1, 2, 3. There's 4 of us. Five of us. There's 5 energy companies and a jewelry store.
that's good. Joe, welcome back. I hope you. Okay. Anything else on Celebrate Hartford, West Hartford? You'll get the sign up sheet for the commissioners and any other people who often help us out, like Christine and Dan.
No, but I have a question for you, Catherine.
Mm-hmm.
So, can the town take advantage of these state incentive programs for upgrading and the financing with Eversource and stuff?
The on-bill financing, yes. Are you talking? So
Sure.
State incentives are one thing. We do get state money for upgrades, and they're thinking of expanding those state funds to HVAC projects. Before, HVAC projects were not eligible. It was mostly just roofs and new construction and things like that.
Like like any private business that private business property, they have incentive programs for upgrading the air conditioning and
through the utilities. Yes, we take advantage of all those incentives all the time.
Okay,
Every time we do a project, we submit them to the utilities for incentives.
So the town,
That's
I
how
didn't
we
know
did.
whether town was excluded from some of those programs or not.
No, the one program we are excluded from is CPACE. Municipalities are not allowed to participate in CPACE.
And which is the CPAY stuff?
The CPACE is the Clean Energy Property Assessed Clean Energy Program. That's because it's an assessment on your property, and you pay it through your property tax bill, and the town doesn't have one. You can't assess yourself.
Okay. So I was thinking, since they're changing, and Bernie, you know this stuff better than I do, but have have the laws changed now where you can, before you can only put for solar panels enough to cover your usage. Now you can build excess and sell it back to the grid, correct?
That's correct. The non-residential solar tariff program. Two things have happened. First of all, you can have a net metered project and a project that is just I think they call it buy all. So that's one change. That was a change made by the Public Utility Regulatory Authority. And a second just passed the other day, which is that the size to load limitation, which is to say, like if you're, Steve, using you as an example, if you have a big roof and a small energy demand, they used to limit the amount of solar you could put up to cover your annual solar load.
It's only like 100, 110% of your yearly usage, right?
Yep. But now that limitation is gone. So for example, if you were a self-storage facility with virtually no load, but a big roof, you can put it up there and sell it all back to the utility at a good tariff.
So Catherine, does the town have extra roof space where we put up solar panels to put up more?
Nope. typically our building's usage is more than the capacity on a roof. A lot of our roofs are in poor condition. So any of the ones that we have re-roofed recently already have solar on them. Also, still the tax and the federal tax incentives and things are what makes a solar project work as well, and the town cannot take advantage of those. So the economics are slightly different for the towns. I have, so what we're in the middle of doing right now, the old, so there are some new programs. Bernie just described the non-residential energy, the solar program. There is also in that new program, there's a kind of virtual net metering piece of that program, which is called SAM, which is State Agriculture and Municipal Projects or something like that, which is a virtual net metering component. But at the same time, they are also the old virtual net metering project program, which we have one project through already, is still open, or it's going to be reopened because they did not use the full allocation of megawatts. So we have a project, an old virtual net metering project under the old program rules that's still waiting in the queue. So we might actually be pursuing another $3+ million kWh virtual net metering project under the old program before that sunsets, just because they didn't use the full capacity of that program. And when that goes away, everything will be combined, virtual net metering and non-residential solar under the new program.
Yeah, because there's, listening to Jack from ESC, there's companies out there that will pay you rent to use your roof to put it on, if it's big enough. So I didn't know if we had, even though it's a town, that it could still pay, and no money up front for the town whatsoever, collect our rents, and creating electricity.
Yeah, the roofs, again, that's a capital project thing as well. Our roofs are so old that they're not in good shape to re-roof. I mean, sometimes you can fold the cost of re-roofing into the project, but typically,
Yeah, I don't know if we can
we don't have that many
ground
large
mount on
roofs.
the parking garages we have, all the parking lots we have.
Yep, we can be looking at solar carports. That's an area that the town should be looking at in the future.
Well, I mean, I don't know why we should maybe bring ESC in now to look at it, and town put up no money and just collect rents on it.
Yeah, towns are not big on real estate transactions, leasing agreements, but it's worth exploring.
Yeah, I mean, this way, otherwise the town's got to put up, a ton of money to do it, which they don't have.
Yeah, it's something we can look at. I want to get through this virtual net metering thing first.
Yeah.
And see if that project comes out of the queue. If it doesn't, I don't know. And I'm not familiar with if it's on my property, if it has to be tied to my usage in any way. I'm not familiar with that model enough. I'll have to get someone to explain it to me. We haven't researched that yet.
Something we can take a look at and bring income to the town and create clean electricity.
Yes. Yeah. I agree. There's a lot of things we can be looking at. So we've got a lot that we're doing currently in terms of new construction projects and HVAC projects. And so I think at some point too, the town is reaching its capacity on how much we can handle at the moment in terms of capital projects and big deals with virtual net metering and things like that. We just don't have enough people to manage all these consultants and things. So we can only do so much at once. And we're starting to feel that with Elmwood and the start of these 9 elementary schools and an animal shelter that's going in and a new DPW thing. There's a lot going on, actually.
What's the Department of Public Works doing?
Huh?
What's the DPW doing?
They're redoing the entire Brixton Street site. There's a master plan for materials sorting facility and kind of waste transfer station, not waste processing. And part of that will be capping a landfill and creating space for solar. And the new the animal shelter down there is being rebuilt, and a lot of things are being reconfigured, and a brand new roof is going in on that facility. And we're currently in negotiations with the solar company that has that array, whether we're going to put it back on or whether we're going to take it off and renegotiate that whole deal. Yeah. So there's a lot going down at Brixton Street. John Phillips is heading that project.
Yep. And the Elmwood start, you talking about the
New community center. Yep. Yep. So the plan is to try and pursue, hopefully a net zero or net zero ready type of design for that as well. And since we're starting from scratch there, we can look at options of geothermal and solar and lots of different things.
Yep.
But I can give ESC a call and explore this rental lease thing.
Yeah, I don't know if they do it, but I'm sure if they do it, they don't do it, or they know who does it. So I know we talked about it, that a lot of buildings with a lot of vacant roofs, and if they can just bring income on it and put those solar panels on, why not?
Yeah, I think our parking lots are probably a better candidate.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Bernie, what's next on the agenda here?
Did we lose Bernie?
Bernie's gone.
Oh, I don't know where Bernie went. Well, we can move on. Should I don't have my phone. Joe, do you have a phone where you can
I
text
have a
Bernie?
phone. Sure.
I don't have my work phone with me. I just have my personal phone. Well, I can pick up until Bernie gets back. Oh, there he is. Bernie, you with us? We're just moving on to, I think Bernie and Maura at the library have firmed up a date, June 25th, June 28th listed there, for a heat pump webinar. So that will be another library event, just like we did the solar PV educational workshop. The library already has the event up and listed, and I haven't checked it to see how many people are registered already. But I think it'll probably be a well-attended event. I don't know who Bernie's got lined up to speak at it, but I would bet you that it's some of the contractors that he's using through the HeatSmart campaign. So I think that'll probably be a successful event. We can always come back to that if Bernie joins us again. I think you guys skipped last month SolSmart because this was something that I've been working on with the town, a designation. Hi, Bernie.
Hi,
Oh, he's stuck again. We'll just keep going. So, so I am working on SolSmart. It's a designation to recognize communities who have taken steps to make their towns more solar friendly and solar accessible and streamlined the project and permitting process. We are working directly with a SolSmart consultant, and they've been through our baseline analysis, and we look to be in pretty good shape with with more than enough points to get the gold designation. There are just a few things on the building and permits side that we're looking into to see, and those are more prerequisites rather than actual qualifying points. So we have to delve a little deeper into a couple of things, but I think we're in good shape to achieve a bronze designation through that program. We have a meeting set up, a joint internal meeting next week, and then we'll move on from there. But this was a program that we've been looking at it for a long time, and has sort of gotten a jump start because it was offered, some technical assistance was offered through free technical assistance through Sustainable Connecticut. So it's just another example of how great the Sustainable Connecticut program is, offering resources and assistance to move towns forward in these areas. We keep losing people. The internet must be slow tonight.
Catherine, I don't know. I can hear you. Can you hear me? I'm on the phone. I'm going to give
I
up
can
on the
hear you.
WebEx.
I can hear
Great.
you now. Did we lose Steve though?
Oh
no, there's Steve. There's Steve's thing. I guess Steve's tile got shifted to the back since you now have two. Okay.
I'm here.
Perfect.
Great.
So we just finished SolSmart.
And Catherine, if you recap, it sounds like we're in good shape. There's just a few things that need to be sort of shaken out, and we're good for the bronze level. Is that the takeaway?
Yep, that's the takeaway.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I'll have more information after our meeting next week. There are just we think bronze is doable. There are just a few prerequisites on the permitting and the zoning side that we're looking into to see whether we meet those. And that'll be the deciding factor whether we're eligible for bronze or not.
Excellent. Thank you. And I'm sorry to hold you back.
That's okay. I think we have it on here, the elementary school air quality projects in 9 schools. Maybe we should change this agenda item to, because the 2 projects that are currently active are Webster Hill and Duffy Elementary School. And those projects are moving forward. We've selected CES is the contractor for Duffy, and Northeast Design Collaborative, along with Bemis Associates as the HVAC contractor, are assigned to Webster Hill School. We've had a couple of project meetings with each team separately. Some things about what the projects are similar. New windows, ventilation with a focus on air quality and energy efficiency. And at Webster Hill, replacing a steam heat system. Duffy was a steam heat system, which has previously been converted to hot water, but doesn't function very well. So they're large projects. We've met with both teams separately. Bernie was asking me, and I was reassuring him that energy recovery is definitely a piece of these projects, as well as the fresh air piece. So there'll be large, complicated projects which will be submitted for utility incentive programs, and hopefully as well be eligible for some state funding under the new rules, and hopefully more stimulus money as well. But those projects are both moving, and I think we're going to have kind of a joint meeting between all the design teams and the school district. We are running into some questions about noise, what they're doing about noise levels in classrooms and things like that. Some of the equipment that they're proposing doesn't seem to meet the noise requirements. So, but just so you know, those projects are moving along fairly rapidly, in fact. But the installation of those will not be till not this summer, next summer.
And Catherine, the $3 million budget that you have there, that's the town of West Hartford previously budgeted amount, and does or does not reflect any additional state or American Rescue money.
Does not reflect any additional.
Okay, good. And the reason I'm asking not only for West Hartford, but we're working with the group that actually got Governor Lamont to put the $150 million sort of funding for indoor air quality across Connecticut, and they're very interested. People look at West Hartford. We have engineers, we have you. We're pretty knowledgeable, but looking to other places that don't have the depth of staff, we're trying to put together a document to let people know sort of what the standard practices might be, and how they can take advantage of this as well. So we might reach out to you with a draft document, and you can just perhaps, if you would, comment on what you know from your standpoint.
Sure. Yeah, I can take a look at it, or talk to Bob Palmer as well, who is more involved in setting the budgets and the knowing how to piece together all the funding. We do know that this $3 million per year for 15 years for 9 schools is woefully underfunded for what we would envision these projects being.
Yeah,
so that's not good. It's not a good starting point. Let's put it that way.
However, perhaps the additional state and hoped for federal funding could perhaps augment that. So
yeah.
I think hopefully we can put together what we think is the best project for our students and our schools and our town. And if the money comes, we'll be ready. If the money doesn't come, then we'll go to Plan B, whatever that is. But I think, yeah, we might as well put together our best shot at what's good, because it's really important. Indoor air quality is probably one of those things that doesn't get focused until something like COVID really raises it to the top of the heap, which it has done. So thank you very much.
The grant that we won for electric vehicles and electric vehicle charging infrastructure, we are hoping to proceed with that. We're waiting we had an internal meeting, John Phillips, the Director of Public Works, Bob Palmer, Plant and Facilities, and me, about kind of redefining what that money would be spent on. Now that it's a year later, some of the vehicles we wanted to purchase are not available, and a lot has changed with the town's forward planning for charging stations, because they did get $300,000 allocated to that, and they'd like to focus on supply equipment more comprehensively throughout the town as a town-wide program, and not just a station here or there. So we've gone back to CDOT through our grant liaison to ask some questions around deadlines for spending that money and what flexibility we have in reshaping that, what we're going to spend that money on. We would like to actually buy a van or an electric van instead of the 2 Chevy Bolts that were proposed in the original grant. So that's the direction we're heading.
All right.
But I would love for West Hartford to get it. I've been wanting for a while now for West Hartford to actually get its first EV in the municipal fleet. And I think a lot of people are supportive of that. So that's really what I would like to see that $20,000 go towards.
Yeah, I think it's a great use, and I know places like Fairfield have already got one. And Catherine, the electric vehicle charging process is. We're working with a consultant there.
We are not yet. Public Works is going to be driving that process. They tell me I don't know if they're planning to issue an RFP to hire a consultant or whether they're going to work with someone directly. But they do plan to engage a consultant to look at a comprehensive townwide kind of revamp of our electric supply EV equipment and kind of where it makes sense to locate them and what types and manage the whole process through the utility incentives and everything like that.
I'm glad to hear that. And if that is open or if there's an opportunity for public participation, please let this group, the commission, know. As time has evolved, I think, for example, citing EV charging on the second floor of a public garage I understand why it was done in the first place, but I don't think that's the direction we want to go. I think we want it to be more open, more accessible to people in town generally and people passing through. So I definitely have some thoughts, and I think there's some lessons learned just from even what we've seen in our own town and other towns as well.
Yeah, great points. I'm hoping that I will be involved in that, even though Public Works has been tasked with driving it, and I will do everything I can to make sure that I hope that public input will definitely be part of that process. So we'll make sure that there's an opportunity for public input.
Good. And to recollect, it's in the minutes of last meeting, but Steve had brought up the point that I think somewhere in the utility hierarchy, people are expressing concerns about strains on the grid. So I did reach out to Ron Arujo at Eversource, and he says, no, Eversource is really happy to do this, and because they want to sell electricity. That's their electric distribution company, so they're eager to do it. Having said that, they might have incentives if these are pay stations, and I expect they will be. So there might be different time of use rates to encourage people to charge when there's less demand on the grid. But he assured me that what we're doing in West Hartford should not be any problem from an Eversource reliability grid standpoint. But I did follow up, Steve. I guess that's the point of all that. Okay.
Okay. So moving on, you guys talked about this, I think, at the last meeting. So that there is agreement that we're going to have a joint meeting of the kind of 3 sustainability commissions, as was recommended through the Sustainability Advisory Group. We have now solidified that meeting will be during the Conservation and Environment's next meeting, Monday, June 27th at 7 p.m. So I hope you guys are available for that. And you guys talked last time, I guess, about some of these different themes. Cynthia Latour, our corporation counsel, one of our lawyers, and I are going to be putting in quite a lot of legwork up front to set an agenda and design some facilitated working sessions to flush out some of the ideas that have been proposed by the Sustainability Advisory Group, and looking at, how the commissions, of how effective the commissions are on their own, how they interact with each other, communication gaps, overlaps, that kind of thing. So I think it's going to be kind of an interesting meeting, but we're going to have to make sure that it's productive and we stay on task.
Yeah, Catherine, we had pretty extensive conversation. As you can see, the themes of interest on the agenda are what we sort of coaxed out. We did not discuss the date. So I, like you said, am hopeful that Joe and Steve and Dave and everybody can make that Monday meeting, which is, and this will be in lieu of our Wednesday meeting. So we won't make you come to two different meetings. So hopefully enough commissioners from ours and the other two commissions can make it. And it will be a physical meeting. We'll be in a large conference room. That's the plan?
That is the plan. Yeah, so that we can have some breakout discussions with, swapping up between members of the different commissions. We have booked the council chambers for that, which is a very large room.
Well, great. That's a great idea. I hadn't even thought of the council chambers, but that's good. Yeah, and to your point, Catherine, it'll be a lot of work for you and Cynthia because hopefully there'll be a lot of us. There's a lot of moving parts to this, like small group breakout sessions and coming together and reaching a consensus and concluding with an action plan. Is it you're kind of thinking 2 hours?
Yes, yeah, the normal commission meeting time. Yeah, don't be too hard on us because neither Cynthia nor I are professional meeting facilitators. We did reach out to the town clerk's office and public relations to see if the town had any expertise, in-house expertise in that area or anyone on contract to facilitate meetings of this type. And the answer was no. So it fell back on us. So I guess we're tasked with doing the best we can. But I think we have a good idea of what we want to get out of it. And I might share that. I'll probably work with you, Bernie, as commission chair and the other two commission chairs to make sure that Cynthia and I are staying on point as we develop this meeting agenda.
Catherine, a question. People who regularly attend our meeting, like Mark Merritt, who would love to be on the commission, Dan Becerra, who would like to be on the commission, Christine Feely, I don't know if she wants to be on the commission or not. Is it members of the public invited or strictly official commission members like are on this call? Or you haven't thought about it yet?
I think it would be public. I will check on that, but it's a public meeting. It's a meeting of the commission. It may be that those public members just get to observe and not participate in the breakout sessions. That they can just sit around the edge and observe, and maybe there'll be a public comment section. I don't quite know the answer to that, so let me check with Cynthia.
Okay. Steve and Joe, are you able to make the Monday meeting? I hope.
As far as I know, I haven't checked my calendar yet, but I think.
Is it this Monday?
Monday, the
No,
June 27th.
Monday, June.
From 7 to 9 p.m.
I will be in San Diego.
I can probably go. I should be able to make it.
okay. Joe, you will not have to dial in from San Diego. But Steve, it would be great if
Okay.
you can be there. We'll reach out to Max and Dave as well. And I'm sure there's going to be people from the other commissions that can't make it as well. for
What
various
time does it
reasons.
start?
7
PM?
o'clock.
7. Perfect. So I just want to put it in my calendar so I don't forget it.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Well, Catherine, you'll be able to add meeting organizer to your already extensive agenda. Excellent. Joe, I hope you have fun. I presume you're going to the zoo, right?
I'm not sure where we're going to go, but my son is out there, and we're going to visit him for 4 days. So we haven't been out in a while, and we're looking forward to it. I've never been to that part of California.
Very good. Okay. Catherine, you have a new website?
Yeah, I was gonna pull it up and show you guys. Can you can see my screen, right?
I'm going to look
Yes.
at it. If you just talk, I'm on it, but I'm not going to try WebEx again. I'm just going to look at it as you talk.
So we have added under departments this sustainability website here. This was something the SAG recommended, and working with IT, we decided that I think it also has a connection here under resident, which is where the old clean energy website, which was severely outdated, was. I asked them to put it under departments because I think this is where most people would go if they were looking for information about what the town is doing on sustainability. So here it is. This is what it looks like right now. It just has some introductory language about the town being committed to sustainability and striving to lead by example. The fact that sustainability is not optional anymore. And, you know, again, this may change over the time, but right now, it says the town does not have a specific sustainability office or department. It is the shared responsibility of all departments and all employees. It also says that many of the town's volunteer boards and commissions, and it links back to the boards and commissions, play a key role in our sustainability efforts. And it talks about how in 2021, the town formed the Sustainability Advisory Group and presented its recommendations to the council. And consideration and implementation of those recommendations is ongoing. So then it talks about how we collaborate with the broader community to engage and educate and enable residents and businesses to make their own sustainable choices. And the idea from the SAG was to organize this website kind of by topic, and topics that people might be interested in knowing, not only what the town is doing, but what they can do and where they can get some quick resources to get started. So for right now, many of these things don't link anywhere. These are kind of some of the topics that the SAG was interested in. But, you know, as you see here, we said, if there are any additional topics you'd like to see, please email. And we decided to put the town manager's email so that he was aware of what was going on as well. So the next step, we also have this little nice box down the bottom, which talks about our current initiatives. And right now we have listed Sustainable Connecticut and HeatSmart. So that information is right on the website as well. We've added a link on the right-hand side to the Sustainable West Hartford Facebook page. People can click on that and join the group. And we've added some background about, you know, the Brundtland Commission and what sustainability is. So I don't know, you guys can take a look at this, tell us what you think. The topics you see listed here, the idea would be that as you click into one of these links, you would see information about what the town is doing in this area, what you could do as a resident, and some resources to get you started. So after we developed this whole structure, one of the roadblocks we're running into is that the town IT department, when we migrated to a .gov website, they really don't like to link to any websites other than other .gov websites. So I find that to be pretty restrictive when we want to link to, you know, information about electric vehicles or utility programs or, you know, information on pollinator gardens or recycling. So we're exploring with that. There may be some flexibility in that. Originally, I wasn't going to be able to link to Sustainable Connecticut or HeatSmart West Hartford. But I think there is a vetting process for different websites where we can get some of those resources included.
Wow.
And then the other thing we're running into, so you guys can let me know your thoughts on this as well. The other thing we're running into, originally we had thought that, you know, right here in this sustainability section, we would have the information on affordable housing. But then we realized, you know, there's some affordable housing information already on the town's planning and zoning website. So the question is whether we, you know, link affordable housing back to the correct place it belongs in the town, and then we kind of get them to beef up their pages. You know, and for example, we have a complete streets page, but it's really buried on the website. You know, so we could link to that page, but we'd have to, it's outdated, you know, and we have to get engineering department who's in where that page is located to provide some more information about what the town is doing and what residents could do and different links. So we're struggling a bit now. We at least got this up there, but we're trying to iron out some kinks and trying to figure out the best place to locate these topic pages and get over the hurdle of what resources we can link into. So it's evolving, but we've made progress.
Well, it sounds like an awful lot of work. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great. There's no reason for our commission to be linked to this.
To be linked?
Yeah.
You're up here where it says many of the town's volunteer boards and commissions play a key role in our sustainability efforts. That link takes you over to the boards and commissions website. So then people can see which boards and commissions might be working on. So then they could access the Clean Energy Commission website.
Right. Okay. So I did that. Just a side note is that we still have the end of June as a meeting on our webpage. So Clean Energy
not
Commission.
the Monday. Yes. We
right?
still have June 29th up there. Yes, you're correct. We only just
Okay.
decided on the
No,
27th.
that's fine. I
2
thought
days
I
ago.
pointed out, make sure that you,
Yep.
all right.
Yep.
Good job. Thank you.
And I would say, Catherine, to Joe's point, like solar energy and renewable energy, that could link back to us. Energy efficiency, that could link back to us. Green building could link back to probably us and perhaps others. Is that sort of the idea?
No,
Or would
for
they be-
example, if people were interested in solar and renewable energy, the question would be, if you click on, that would be a link, right? And if you click on that,
Yes.
or it might be an expandable menu. The question is whether the information about what the town is doing and what you could be doing and the resources would just appear here would be hosted on the sustainability webpage for the town, or whether it would redirect you to, for example, the plant and facilities department, where, what the town is doing on solar energy, because it would describe all the projects that have been done on town buildings. And then from there, it would take you to what you can do. So the question is whether to host these topic areas on the sustainability webpage directly, or whether to have them link back to the correct department page. So affordable housing would link back to planning and zoning. Climate change, I have no idea where it would link to. Complete streets would link to engineering. Electric vehicles would link to public works. Electric vehicle charging would link to public works. Picking up the idea that the town does not have a sustainability office. It's the responsibility of multiple departments. And typically there's a department in charge of one of these topic areas. It might not always be the same one.
Okay, but so you're saying solar energy and renewable energy would not come back to us? Would not come back to the Clean Energy Commission?
Why would it link to your page? Your commission page purely talks about what the commission does.
Okay, which I guess in my mind, we do renewable, we do clean energy. So, and we do, and I guess I think of us as doing this.
Oh, so what I'm envisioning, so for example, in solar energy, there would be and I'll share an example with you because we worked a few out already. Under solar energy and renewable energy, it would say what the town is doing. And it would describe, for example, the town of West Hartford has 14 different solar projects. We also have a school that's, geothermal, blah, 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 blah. So here's what the town is doing. What percentage of we also buy RECs, it would go through a little summary of what the town is doing. Here's what you can do as a resident. You could install solar on your home. You could do this, you could purchase green energy from your utilities. You could support solar energy legislation, whatever those, and we're going to keep it brief. Here's what you can do.
Yeah.
Just to give them a flavor of what they can do. And then in section 3, it would be, here are some resources to get started. And it would link to the Eversource Learn About Solar page, the Eversource Residential Renewable Program. It would link to just a few key Google Project Sunroof, something like that.
I guess what I think, just take clean energy out of it for a minute. Take multimodal transportation. I'm thinking if I'm pedestrian, bike, somewhere in that, when that becomes a link and not just a phrase, I would hope that somebody could say, oh yeah, I'm interested in that. And yes, that you could say what the town is doing. And at some point they should also say, and by the way, we have a pedestrian bike commission, and here's what they're up to. Or
Gotcha.
likewise
So,
with the.
I like that idea. So a fourth section I just realized that we had discussed having was a point of contact for that topic area. And originally we thought there should be a person named, like me or Todd DeMay, our town planner, or someone. And then we said, perhaps we don't want to list an actual person. Maybe we should just list the department responsible. And again, that goes back to, do we link to the actual department website for these topic areas, or do we just name the department in charge? So in that same section, Bernie, to your point, I think you're right. It would be a good idea not only to list the department in charge, but if there's a commission, a town commission that's working in that area too, we could list them as well. And then they could access back to the commission's webpage and view what they're working on, through the minutes or through whatever is listed on their website.
Yep. Yeah, because I'm thinking sustainability, we support sustainability. And when we meet on the 27th, we're going to talk about how the three, at least us three, and perhaps other commissions as well, especially looking at this list, can support sustainability. But then I think it's a feedback loop where sustainability is, we become the pillars of the sustainability. So I really do think we have to be somehow, all of us need to be looped into this.
I mean, I also envision, eventually maybe some of this wording in the introduction would be changed if, for example, the town ever forms another sustainable West Hartford team, which might be a combination of different commissions or representatives, or if they ever hire a sustainability officer, then the language above would get changed. And obviously there would be someone to point to directly in the introduction as well who could assist.
Great. Okay. Yeah, and I don't know what to say about the .gov hesitancy to, I guess I kind of get it. I never thought of it before. I guess .gov sort of implies that it's a perfectly vetted thing, and once you get outside the .gov world, it's not implicitly vetted. So, but anyway, it sounds like you're working on that one.
Yeah, my understanding is that the IT department has gotten feedback on that, not only from us, but from other departments like economic development and social services and things like that, about that it's too restrictive in terms of being able to help and serve our residents.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, it's always important to know whether that's a rule that we have made and inflicted on ourselves, or whether that's a rule that comes from somewhere else, and that we have to. Anyway. Good. A lot going on there.
Yeah, it's still a work in progress, but Catherine Bruns and I are now kind of working on building out some of these topic areas, and could enlist assistance, not only in building content, but proofreading from all of you commissioners, as well as former SAG members and anyone else who might be experts in these areas.
Very good. Well, thank you. And Joe, Steve, any other comments for Catherine? It sounds like the ink is still wet on this one, but do you have a sort of an end date in mind? Certainly
I do not.
27th. Yeah, certainly we should wait till we have the meeting at the end of June, right?
Yeah, I think to start it or to finish it.
Oh, to finish, you can't. I don't think you can finish until we have that meeting.
Yeah, no, I'm going to. This is going to take a long time. I think we're just going to populate them as we go, starting with the easy ones and working our way down.
Oh, okay. Good. There's a logic to that. Let's not pour the concrete until we know what we want. Good. Okay.
So a couple other things I've been meaning to share with you for a long time, but here we go. This is through April, the end of April. Here are some of our utility numbers. So the bottom line, this is the Board of Education, and the bottom line is that we're kind of right on budget. And energy use has gone back up as buildings went back into full use, but are still ventilating for COVID. Our natural gas use has been up. You can see here over some previous years. In addition, the cost has gone way up. But even I think we had enough cushion in our budget even to absorb this increase in natural gas prices. So we're going to be ending the year pretty much on budget, maybe slightly over, but that's what we're predicting here. So you can see our natural gas use has climbed significantly, and that's mainly from the COVID ventilation. Our electricity use has gone back up, but it's still even below pre-COVID levels, which is good.
Hey, Catherine,
Mm-hmm.
with all the solar panels that we have,
Mm-hmm.
is there a way to show, I'm assuming that whatever electricity we're making off the panels, we're consuming and not having to buy, correct?
No, with the exception of Charter Oak, the system that with the exception of the systems that we own, we still pay for solar energy because they're done under power purchase agreements. So the only systems that we own are Charter Oak, 100 kW system, and some very tiny ones.
So
that's all included in here. The solar projects that we participate in total represent about and again, this is only Board of Ed, so there's another summary here for the town. So the solar projects that we participate in total represent about a third of our kilowatt hours. We cannot claim that energy as green energy for the town because we do not own the RECs of it. So we cannot say that, you know, a third of our energy is produced by solar arrays on our buildings or anything like that. So there's still some legal restrictions around what you can claim.
Yeah. So help me understand. I'm really just trying to understand the finances on this.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, pick a school, you have a power purchase agreement. They put up somebody else put up the solar panels, right? And you buy the electricity off of them.
At less than we could buy.
And so how much?
It's usually a discounted rate. It depends when the power purchase agreement was executed, because in the past power purchase agreements, the price for solar, because of the economics of solar. So some of the older ones we buy the power at higher rates, and some of the new ones we have are much lower. So typically these days I can negotiate a power purchase agreement for way less than I can pay the supply rate to, whether it's to Eversource or a third party supplier that we've picked. So I'm actually paying less for the energy.
So how much are you? So when you go into a deal, let's say for whatever the most current information you know of.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go in, what would you be paying for electricity per kilowatt?
So right now, I mean, we have PPAs down in the 5.5 cent range, and the town right now is paying 7.5 cents for electricity.
Okay.
So we're saving money through our PPAs. We pay less.
Yeah.
I think the lowest PPA price I've ever heard of was, Bernie, is it 2 cents or 4 cents? Right, one town negotiated? I don't know.
But
Yeah.
even at five, that's 5 cents all in per kilowatt, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you're saving on the delivery
5
side
cents for,
too.
No. Well, yes, I'm saving on the
Just-
delivery side too. As
So-
long as the solar production coincides and there's not a glitch or, a moment in time when my demand peaks
All right. So
and
yeah.
I'm hit by the yeah.
So if all things
But I
work
should,
normal, you're paying 5 cents a kilowatt versus 22 cents a kilowatt delivered.
yeah, it's not really like that. Yes. I don't, yes, you can't really factor in the whole 22 cents
Why?
because of on a lot of these commercial rate structures, you're locked into your 12-month highest peak demand. So I'm still paying distribution and delivery on what I peaked at when the solar was not operational. Yeah, so that's what you said, Steve, is the simplified version. Yes.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
doesn't usually work out that way, but yes.
So how often are you having to pay the delivery cost and stuff? Do you
My solar arrays don't cover my full usage, so my T&D is always there.
All right, but what they don't cover your full usage because there's not enough roof room to put it on?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So
I have 2 sites which occasionally produce more in a month than the building uses. Just 2 of like 14 sites.
yeah.
But still, I have T&D on those sites because of what I just described to you. The commercial rate structure is very different from the residential rate structure.
Sure.
So your
No.
T&D portion never goes away.
But so if let's say your solar panels create 2/3 electricity usage for the year, is it
Yes.
fair to say then 2/3 you're in for 5 cents a kilowatt versus um versus 22 cents a kilowatt all in with delivery?
The savings is not that great, but yes. So say maybe it's 5 and 15 or 5 and 10. Yeah. There's savings, but not a ton. Yep.
And if
Not
you
as much as you would think because of the way the demand, the T&D side of things is structured. So when I look at a solar deal, the developers will factor that in for you 100%. And I typically look mostly at the supply portion of it.
okay.
We had one instance on a school where the solar array went down. Right? So I lost all that savings because my T&D spiked again. And then I was locked into that T&D rate for the next 12 months. So then any T&D transmission and distribution side of my solar savings was gone for that entire year until 12 months passed and then it dropped again. Yeah.
Okay.
You have to follow it closely site to site. Each one's different based on what rate structure it's on, whether it's a 30, a 35, a 55, it all matters.
Now, what's the difference if the town owned the solar panels?
Well, then we don't pay anything for the power. So that 5 cents goes away.
And so why would they what was the determining factor to do a power purchase agreement versus buying our own solar panels?
The only reason we were able to afford it for Charter Oak School was that we wrapped the project cost into the cost of the new construction project, and we got reimbursement money from the state. State was sometimes doing that or sometimes not doing that. So typically solar projects are way too expensive, the upfront costs. And unless you're able to get the federal tax credits and the incentive money and all of that, they don't work financially. So it's the same thing as you were saying, putting solar on our roof is at no cost to the town.
Yeah.
I simply end up paying less for my power.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then you get really jammed with your delivery stuff fee if you're not making enough with it.
I think you're always better off having solar than not having solar.
Yep.
Bernie, understand I'm not putting it down by any way. I'm just trying to understand the economics of it. And
Steve, if you want, you can come to room 307 and I can show you all the bills for a couple of different sites that have solar. And
yeah.
you know, I can walk you through it and show you, you know, over the course of a year
Okay.
how it works.
Yeah, just curiosity's sake, I just love to understand. Like, I got to imagine putting them up there with some incentives or somehow with the energy savings, it's got to start to pay for itself at some point. And especially as you know, as we know with the grid upgrades and everything, you know, and more wind power, whatever, it's going to start rising electricity rates quite a bit soon. So
Yeah.
it'll start to really pay back.
Yeah, at some point, and with these new, you know, options to size them bigger and do the buy-alls versus the, you're right. I mean, the economics of solar are changing, and
Yeah.
you know, I think you're right. I'm not as up to speed as I should be. You know, we need to start thinking through. I think you're absolutely right. At some point, it might be economically feasible for for towns to start doing their projects without power purchase agreements. But in the past, and I think there were a couple of towns who figured out how to do it, but it's been cleaner and easier, and there has been savings, not, you know, not as much as you would think, but there are savings in doing it.
And it may be
And there are other
possible.
benefits. You know, we're supporting solar even if we can't claim it. You know, and there are educational benefits to having them on our roofs, and we're supporting the industry and local generation.
And it may be possible if there's a buyout in the PPA, so at year 5 or year 7, then the investor will have achieved the tax credits and much of the appreciation, and we might be in a position to buy it back at a much lower cost. So I think there will be decision points in the future, whether arrays that are under a PPA agreement for 20 years, but there's sort of some off ramps at certain periods where we could look at a capital expense to buy them rather than staying in the lease or the PPA.
Yeah, even if you finance it and offset.
Yeah, most of the PPAs, the buyout amounts are structured so that they're not really feasible during the term of the agreement. I think the real decision point will come at the end of the PPA, whether you want it removed from your roof or you want it's sold to you for $1 or whatever the market rate is. Most of the buyout provisions in the PPAs that we have, at least, and the ones that I've heard of, you know, the buyouts in the agreement are still not viable.
Yeah, but as they
Okay.
push up credit values, and those values keep going up, economics keeps changing these things.
Yep.
Very good.
Oh, so I'm sorry. So let's just scroll down. So this was the Board of Ed. You can see what's happening there. And then the town the town side, the increase in natural gas use was not as great, a little bit more stable, just because the buildings are smaller and you know, a lot of this was critical facilities anyway that were still in operation during COVID, and our leisure facilities, which are only, a lot of it wasn't affected. And again, our electricity use has gone back up slightly, but still not up to pre-COVID levels, which is good. The one thing that was disappointing is our water use is up again. We did have a couple of large leaks. This is one thing that is creeping up on us. You know, a lot of the water infrastructure, not only the pipes underground, but our irrigation systems are old and leaky, and they've been fighting some very large leaks at Fairview Cemetery and at Rockledge Golf Course over the last year or so, that we just can't seem to pinpoint. And the way the MDC rates are structured, when our water use gets charged not only for our water use, but also our special sewer assessment for the large infrastructure projects they're doing. So any CCF you use gets charged for both those things, which becomes very expensive very quickly.
It is surprising on the town that the water is substantially higher than the natural gas. I just didn't see that one coming.
Yes, we passed that. Yeah, we passed that about 5 years ago. Those flip-flopped. Yep. I made a big deal when that happened, but no one really listened to me.
Well, maybe if they change leadership to MDC and stop lining the pockets of some ex-politicians that run the place, things will be different over there.
Yeah, we can. A combination of fixing leaks in the ground and fixing leaks in management, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I think we're in decent shape to be right on budget. And then hopefully some of these new construction building replacement projects and energy efficiency projects with the HVAC projects will put a dent in a couple of buildings, a couple of our high energy users. So that'll be good too.
Yeah, and Catherine, I know we've talked about this just a few minutes ago, but when you talk about running in COVID style, increased ventilation, increased filtration, and really not any energy recovery ventilation devices on site. So we're essentially blowing uncharted, conditioned air in and out of the buildings, and we're paying to condition it. So the sooner we can fix that, we want to keep the air clean, but we also want to recover any heat or cool out of that. So COVID is hurting us, in other words.
Yes.
In these dollars.
Yes. Yes. And that, West Hartford has been very conservative in taking the state's guidance to heart. I think I don't know what other towns are doing or whether they're, still ventilating as much as we are, but we are still running our buildings several hours after the occupants leave, and our exhaust fans 24/7, as per the state's guidance.
Maybe we can talk about this next time, but there is increased ventilation, outdoor air coming in. There's also indoor air cleansing, if you will. So you got filtration systems, you've got ultraviolet lights, which will destroy, any pathogens, COVID or any other thing that's in there. Are we looking at any of that? So in a particular classroom, something like ultraviolet light as a way to keep pathogens out?
I don't know. It has not come up in the HVAC projects that we've talked about lately. I don't know whether anyone in plant and facilities has been asked to look at that.
It is worth taking a look at, even sometimes within our existing ducts. You don't want, we're running schools, not tanning salons, so you don't want UV light shining down on our kids. But you can put the UV lights into the air conditioning ducts and really destroy all sorts of contagions, which more and more I'm thinking is a good idea now that, what is it, monkeypox seems to be. I don't think that's going to hurt us, knock on wood, but just as an example of, there are other things out there even besides COVID, and COVID doesn't seem to be done either. So
did you not realize?
What's that, Steve?
Yeah.
An accounting award. I showed you the video, right?
You got a
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah. Anyway, Catherine, good job on the budgets in an enormously variable scenario here. I don't know quite how you did it, but you're coming remarkably close.
Yes, I think we built in a little bit of cushion, it looks like, which served us well this time.
Great.
And I guess the last, so I'll go back to the agenda. Whoop, up here. The last thing I had that I was going to bring it to your attention, I added this, Bernie, at the last minute, was again, as one of the Sustainability Advisory Group's recommendations, the town manager has agreed to circulate the climate crisis resolution that was passed with an email to all department directors. Henry Millward and I worked on some wording for that email. I think it's very good. I wonder if I can, I don't have it in front of me right now, but it's basically calling their attention to the fact that the town did pass a climate crisis resolution, in case they weren't aware, and requesting that they share it with their staff, calling their attention to the provision that that climate change should be considered in any town action or decision, and that steps should be taken towards reducing greenhouse gas emissions as quickly as practicable, and also encouraging residents to do the same. And then it asks them to please, in this new budget year, think about how to operationalize the resolution and use climate change as one of the lenses in terms of their department's actions and spending. And Rick Ledworth, our acting town manager, is going to circulate that at the beginning of June. So I think that's a great step forward as well.
Yeah, so it's taking it from just a proclamation to directing it to the department heads and saying, we proclaimed this, we resolved this. Now, you guys read it, understand it, and without giving specific directions, it's basically asking them, what are you going to do about this? Is that an accurate kind of summary?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to go. Hopefully they'll be excited to get on board.
Yes. So I think that the point is, slowly but surely we are kind of checking things off, things that are in our power to kind of advance in terms of the sustainability group's recommendations.
Excellent. Very good. I haven't heard Joe. I don't know if Joe is still on, but Steve, I'm glad that you're still on. And Catherine, I guess next time we'll be in person. And hopefully these internet issues won't plague us like they did tonight.
Yeah, my now my video's gone off. Just I didn't turn it off. It just kind of went off itself.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, maybe that's it. Maybe
mine's, yeah, mine's working tonight. But sorry, my son was given an award at Hall High School tonight for something in accounting, and he forgot to go.
Oh,
I'm getting texts like,
oh no.
"I won an award in accounting tonight." I'm like, I don't think he's there.
oh my goodness. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations. It's,
For
the
what?
world needs some good account.
It's going to the thing that he was supposed to.
Well, maybe he should go to room 307 and learn about solar rates as well. That would be an advanced course in accounting.
Yeah, it could be. I've drilled him enough about biofuels, so might as well start learning about solar now.
Very good. Okay, Catherine, do you think we're concluded here? Are we near adjournment?
I think so.
I'll move that we adjourn unless there's any other comments.
I have one. I'll second it.
Perfect. Okay.
You scared me, Steve. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Steve. And
Good
Joe,
night.
if you're still on, thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.